Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fan fiction it inspires. Before we begin, just want to remind you to like, subscribe, follow wherever you listen to us so you don't miss any episodes or bonus stuff that we do. I'm Sandra.
I'm Kasey, and it's another ranking episode. Please don't call anyone. Okay, it's been at least a month since the last one. At least a month. Come on now, don't call anyone. Be a pal. And also we set out to do all of the seasons before we realized that maybe we had a problem. So we're not quitters, you guys. We're gonna finish it out. So last time we did the tops and bottoms of each seasons 1 to 5, because you can't do seasons 1 to 15. That's too many seasons. That would be so long.
It would be 3 hours. Yeah.
That would be a problem. I mean, I'm sure there's some of you out there that would be like, yes, please give us 3 hours. But, for our sanity, we can't record that long. So this week
We've tried. It hasn't gone well.
Yeah. By the time we hit hour 2.5, we're delirious. So it doesn't work out great. So this week we have our tops and bottoms of season 6 to 10. So we've already done way all the fucking way back, 2 years ago. We did just the top 10 and top 10 and bottom 10 of seasons 6 to 10 and 1 to 5 and 11 to 15. But this is season 6, season 7, so we're top and bottom of each season.
It'll make sense once we
get started. And can I just say, but this is the first episode we're recording in 2024, and it's been a minute, guys.
Yeah, it's been three. I think it's been at least 3 weeks.
3 weeks
since we've recorded anything together.
And let me tell you, it is not like riding a bike, friends. It is not. We got into this Zoom. Well, no, I got into this Zoom I don't remember how to do this. Sandra was very prepared, but I'm a fucking mess. So bear with me. But Sandra very helpfully went and listened to our 1 to 5, and she said that she started off that episode, so I'm going to start off this episode. So we're coming in season 6. We're just going to plow right into it, guys. Are we going bottom first or top first?
I think we've done bottom first.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So once again, I have ordered mine the wrong way. So I have to read upwards instead of downwards, but it's fine. So my bottom of season 6, and it was kind of difficult to pick one because, as you all know, the first half of season 6 is my jam, guys. That's my jam. But I picked All Dogs Go to Heaven. Okay. I don't remember what episode number it is. I didn't put that in. Sandra probably knows. What the fuck?
I don't know which episode it is offhand, but I think it's when he's still soulless. Right?
It is.
Okay.
I think it's the episode before Clap Your Hands If You Believe. I'm real sorry, guys. The podcast mascot is here, and he is attempting to clean his belly by just rolling around. And it's really not working out great for him. And it's kind of distracting as well. So if you hear me go, what the fuck? It's nothing to do with the episode. It's the fucking cat. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the episode before Clap Your Hands If You Believe. But it's in the first half of season 6 where Sam is still soulless. And it's not my bottom because it's a bad episode, because it's not. But it's sad. It's just a guy, and he just gets a family, and he pretends to be a dog, and then Sam and Dean just come in with their big fucking boots and wreck his life completely. And all his shapeshifter, well, they're not his pals, but all the shapeshifters die. And then he's outed to his family as a shapeshifter, so he tries to go back to them and they tell him to fuck up, and then he's all on his own, and it's sad.
Well, I think the backstory of that character too is that I think you get the assumption that he's at least homeless or very low income anyway, I think, to begin with. So
yeah,
the alphas, I think, were kind of looking for that sort of, those people that are, quote unquote, invisible or forgettable, or they don't have those ties. And then, I mean, I get it as the mom, she was just so freaked out about it, but still, it still just makes you kind of be like, it's still sad. It's still sad for him.
Like
it's weird, but it's also like, it's a little weird, but it's also sad.
Like as a parent, I've got my stupid little soapbox out. Like I would be exactly the same. If my family pet turned into a person, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Do not turn into a person. Nobody cleans themselves like that. So I get it, but I'm just, oh man, he just wanted a family, and he didn't really do anything wrong. He was just protecting, like, it was a little bit warped, but he was just protecting his family. And then Sam and Dean come in with their big fucking boots and just wreck his life, and then he's all on his own at the end.
And Sam is really mean to him in that one scene. I can remember, initially being like, whoa, I'm like, you are really having fun playing with your food now.
Like, okay, is it a kinky thing? Is a great line. Like it is. And like I said, this is not the bottom because it's a bad episode. It just makes me sad, guys. I don't like it. I've got sappy in my old age. So that was my bottom. Now, when we did this as a group, my top was the third man from season 6. It was like my top of the top. So it was exiled. I wasn't allowed to use it per Sandra's rules that I didn't know last time. So it would have still been my top, not because the episode's great, but goddamn that opening though. Goddamn. But I didn't use it. So I'm sure this will come as a shock to literally fucking nobody. My top of season 6 is Clap Your Hands If You Believe. Oh my God, there are so many episodes where I've waxed lyrical about this episode. I love it so much. It's so funny. It's like soulless without the dread. There's no like impending doom of, oh my God, we're going to get Sam's soul back. It's just fucking funny. It's just funny. The scene in the bar with the, your soul wouldn't let you, you'd sit and feel the loss. Well, couldn't I do that and have sex with a hippie chick? Are you trying to pick up a waitress? It's funny. Do you want bigger cups? It's genuinely one of my favorite episodes, like of all time. And we've done a like best of the best episode, and I'm pretty sure this probably ranked pretty close to the top then as well, if not the top. So yeah, that's my season 6. Sandra, what is yours?
You were talking about the tops and bottoms, like our top 10s of this like grouping. I had it in my document and I didn't look at it until after I'd gone through and made my like, picks of bottoms and tops for each season. And I was kind of a little surprised that I missed some things completely. So I think that does say a lot about when you are reflecting back on certain seasons and like whatever's going on at the time, and how your ideas of what might be the top and bottoms are changes. I will say, for my bottoms, I think I remained pretty consistent and didn't veer too far off of that. For season 6, my bottom was Mannequin 3, The Reckoning. And that was episode 14. It's the Curse of the Monster of the Week. It was a weird episode with the ghost inhabiting the dolls and the mannequins. I am not a Doctor Who person. I have not watched a lot of Doctor Who. I distinctly remember watching one episode of Doctor Who, and it was all of these mannequins kind of like coming to life. And every time I see this episode, that's all I think about is like this one Doctor Who episode that I watched and was like, what the fuck is going on? And maybe that's why I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But
what is happening right now, guys? Guys, please.
I actually just watched, and I'm blanking out, but I watched another show that was doing the whole ghosts in I know, me watching a different show, and I can't even tell you what it was. But it was another show where the same thing was happening, where inanimate objects were being inhabited by ghosts. I'm going to have to go back and figure out what the heck I was watching that did that. But that again, I just automatically thought of like, Supernatural. Another reason I did not like this episode, going back to it, I feel like they had to wedge in another Lisa Ben kind of bellyache from Dean, to kind of remind us of them before they also like tied up their storyline in a terrible way for me at the end of the season. I just don't like that. Lisa and Ben in and of themselves, like they don't irk me, I think, the way maybe some other people do. Like I really do like Lisa. I like Lisa as a character because I know she's really trying to make it work, but she also seems very independent and able to do her own thing without Dean, but she's choosing to she wanted to try to have Dean in her life. And there was a lot of struggle with that and how to make that work when Sam came back. But I just don't like how you've and when I say you, I don't mean you, but I mean like the show. Like you've always got to have Dean feel horrible about himself and his decisions. And I hate it when they just keep doing that. Like if he's made a decision, he's made a decision. Let him move forward with the decision, and just deal with all the other bullshit that's going to happen with that. So again, monsters of the week typically they have to be really good for me to love them. But I also, when they mix in some storylines that I'm just like, you're just doing this because of what's going to happen later. And I mean, writers do that. You've got a plot. I just feel like the plotting could have been better and the characterization maybe could have been a little bit better. It just breaks my heart too, because I always think about Ben as an adult, older, in his mid-20s or, he's probably close to, if we're talking the way things are moving, like maybe even close to 30 at this point. And how did that time with Dean being a male figure in his life, what effects that might have had, on him? And were they good or bad? Well, they won't be anything now because he doesn't remember, and that kind of bothers me that he could have had some influence on his upbringing. I kind of hope that that's the case, that, things turned around and maybe they did have a better life the way that Dean hoped. But yeah, I just didn't like it.
So no, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
My top, and I was surprised when I went back and looked because there was another season 6 episode that apparently I just completely forgot about when I was looking through the list, but this one stuck out to me. And I think it's because of where I'm at in my rewatch. But my top for season 6 is Weekend at Bobby's, and that's episode 4. I just love Bobby. I just love Bobby. Bobby as a character and what he did for the boys. And this feels like a little, like almost like a capsule episode where you kind of like, you could pluck it out, and it does have some plot going on about like, the Crowley deal that he made and, wanting to get his soul, like his soul back and all of that stuff and trying to work that angle. And there's only like 2 or 3 minutes of Sam and Dean in this at the most. But it's just, you get more backstory about Bobby, why he's so essential, to so many hunters, his relationship with the boys, how they rely on him, how they expect so much from him. And, you just see his own needs and wants going unnoticed or unfulfilled. We get Rufus. We get another Jody pop in so that, we then know she's going to be hopefully a character that we see again. It has importance to it in the overall plot line, but I just think it's structured so well. It's just really good writing. And I also have a fondness for this episode because it's Jensen's first time directing. And I really think he did a great job with it.
Oh, no, absolutely. I have a very similar fondness for Weekend at Bobby's. Just, I think we'd like the episode if anybody else had directed it, but I think we're like, oh my God, it's Jensen's baby. We love it all the more because it's Jensen's baby.
Yeah, but I think too,
it's
just Bobby. And when we get into season 7, like where I am at in the rewatch, it's just, he's very present in my mind, I guess, as I'm thinking about the show right now. The actors are all really great in it too. And I love Stephen Williams, who plays Rufus. He was such a good side character. And again, they took him way too soon as well. Yeah. It's just great. And if you have not watched the little behind the scenes of Jensen directing, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. And I know it's on the DVD of season 6. Definitely watch it. It gives you a lot of insight on the directing process and stuff like that. And everybody's, pitches in their thoughts about, Jensen's first time directing. And I know we've spoken about this before, but how Jared tends to give people, I think, a hard time on set, but he seems so very supportive, of his best friend in this process that it's nice.
Yeah. I keep seeing, like, every time I go on Instagram, Like, you know, if, like, I don't know how everyone else uses Instagram, but I use the app. So if you go to like search and you get a little search bar, but then it just populates like a whole bunch of like shit you might be interested in. And it's usually like J2 stuff. But it like this image keeps coming up in that little shit you might be interested thing on Instagram. It's like one of those 4-panel Jensen, you know, like they do it like a 4-panel and it's like a quote from a con. And it's Jensen saying that he thought Jared was going to like mess with him really hard, but Jared was like a complete professional. You know, he was like, whatever you need, I'm here for you. I've got your back. And then there's like a panel of Jared saying he's the best director I've ever had. And it's so fucking cute. Like, I really do love that. Like everyone got behind Jensen for that. And I still think we were robbed of the spin-off of Bobby and Rufus, because every time they do an episode together, it's fucking great. Yeah. And I'm like, but guys, like, never mind that bloodline shit from that episode in that season that I don't remember. Fuck that noise. Like, I still want Wayward Sisters. I still want Jodie and Donna kicking ass. But give me some Bobby Rufus too, please.
Yeah, I almost really did wish that if the Winchesters had gotten renewed, like, I really wanted to see a younger, if it fell into the timeline, which I'm not sure, but, you know, like we talked about how it could, you know, jump forward a few years or whatever. I would have really liked to see 2 actors, you know, embody a younger Bobby and a younger Rufus, because some actors can really do a character justice if they've done their homework. And I would have liked to have seen how that relationship started. And because we only get hints, you know, of how they kind of met and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm just assuming, you know, Rufus got into hunting the way everybody else does. You know, there was some traumatic event, something happened that forced him into it. Like, I don't think he was probably born into it, say, the way maybe Mary was, as, you know, part of one of the Campbells. But I would have just liked to have seen that dynamic and how and they're just so curmudgeonly and like odd couple and
grumpy old men. I want it.
It's great. They have really good chemistry together. And every time I see Stephen Williams, I mean, I just think of 21 Jump Street because he was, I think, the captain on that show. And I absolutely loved him when he was on that show back then. That was decades ago. When I see him, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I want any relationship that ends up in a place where you could just bray on someone's door and go, you need to help me bury a body. I want to know where that started. Tell me, take me on the journey. Because I mean, okay, like I have people in my life that I could turn up at their house and be like, you have to help me bury a body. But there would be questions. There would not be instant, like, yeah, okay. You know,
but it says a lot about their relationship, even if they don't consider it a friendship, that they are that there for each other, that Rufus will go to Bobby. Like that says a lot, you know, about that, that he's going to go to Bobby for that. And
especially when you think early on in the season, Bobby sent Sam and Dean to Rufus and he was like, no, we don't talk. Like he said, I wasn't, you know, like they had a big fallout and then we end up with, you got to help me bury a body.
Yeah. So I think the only thing I was going to mention too is like when I looked at my top 10s from season 6 to 10, the episode that was was higher than this before the number 1 was The French Mistake. And I don't know why, I just completely blocked out of it. But I think The French Mistake is I think it's so meta at this point too, for me, that it's fun to watch, but I don't really hold it as, the plot is kind of like weaved in there very loosely just to get them to this AU place. And they just get to kind of go crazy with it. So definitely a great episode and was at my top, but for some reason right now in this moment in time, it was Weekend at Bobby's. So
yeah, I found actually, because I'd opened up my like previous like grouping so I could so I knew what I couldn't use for the top and the bottom.
Yeah, I did that, but then I didn't look at like anything else. Yeah.
I didn't. But then when I was done and I looked and I was like, those episodes that made my top 10 are not necessarily the episodes that made the top and bottoms of each episode. So it's weird. It's weird how that goes. Like we've been waxing lyrical about Supernatural for 2 years now, and it's weird how
it can still change, right? Yeah, it still changed. I kind of like that. I'm like, that's interesting. You know, I think that goes along with the lines of this show is whatever you need at whatever time you're watching it or experiencing it. I really do feel that you can you can look back at the show, watch it, and you're going to get something different out of it each time. It can be a very layered show. Now that has a lot to do with our brains thinking about it, but it has a lot more to give, I guess, is my point. It's not like a one and done kind of a situation, where there's some shows I've watched and I really did like at the time, but there's not this, I want to call it obsession, because I don't feel like it's an obsession, but I know we talk about it a lot, but it just feels like it's a part of our lives now in a very comforting way as needed. So
no, I mean, I will call it an obsession. It's definitely
an obsession. Okay, as long as you go along with it with me, it's an obsession.
No, it's an obsession in my life. It doesn't have to be an obsession in your life. You do adult things. I just goof around.
But the fact that a lot of my off time, I think about this show. It's okay. As long as we're in here together with it, then I'm okay. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
I think we're among friends here to be able to go. It's an obsession. It's bordering on a problem, really. Like, it's a problem, kind of. Yeah. No, that's fair. It's interesting how it shakes out. Okay, shall I go for season 7?
Yes.
Is it my go? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So my bottom for season 7 is Shut Up, Dr. Phil.
Good choice.
It's I don't know what it is about that they just decided that witches were gonna be gross. I don't know why they it's an interesting take on witches for sure, but they're just they're gross. All the episodes are icky and it's gross. But then that one ended so dumb with we're marriage counseling. That was fucking stupid. Stupid. And also, upon rewatch, Dean makes a mildly positive comment about Donald Trump. And you got to bear in mind, this was in
I saw that too. Yeah. When Ted and I both looked at each other, and I'm like, it is before.
It was in season 7. What would that have been?
2011.
2011. Yeah. So, it was before he went, well, no, before he publicly went batshit. I'm sure he was batshit before that. But it rings ick in 2023 when I watched it. Oh no.
Yeah, stuff does definitely get aged. I give him a pass the same way I gave my deceased godmother a pass when she used to love watching The Apprentice. So I'm like, it's Trump light, I guess. We'll just say that. It's when we thought he was more innocuous and just I think Dean a pass for that.
Yeah, I think I will give people a pass for the past, but if it's 2023, 2024,
no.
And you're still I'm watching reruns of The Apprentice because I think Donald Trump is amazing, get in the fucking bin. I'll give you a pass if you watched it when it was airing because nobody knew how fucking mental he was then. Now, we don't touch that shit. But yeah, no. Apart from that one thing with the Donald Trump, I just find the whole episode really just, it's just I don't have a problem with body horror and stuff in the same way that Sandra does, but they're just gross. I don't want to bite into cupcakes and them have beating hearts in them. That's gross. That's ick. No, thank you. Fully there. No. So that was my bottom for season 7, and then my top was Defending Your Life, which actually didn't even make my It was an honorable mention when we grouped these together.
Okay.
But when I came to go look at them together, I think it's a really good episode and a really interesting look at what could have been. Sam wasn't pre-law because he wasn't going to make a good lawyer. It would have been really good. And then I'm a glutton for punishment. The scene with Joe and Dean is so heart-wrenchingly awful. But she's I don't know, there's something about that scene that you very rarely see with ghosts, but it's almost like it's a chance for him to make it up to her, because he obviously does feel guilty and blames himself that she died because of him and it was his fault, and he gets to apologize and they kind of get to have a conversation about it that I think is probably needed. So I'm not one for putting sad episodes in tops because I'm no, my feelings. But that I think it brings a bit of closure that Dean really did need, even all those years later. But the actual sort of courtroom scene is just awesome. Sam is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like too that they found a way to bring Jo back, but not that she's inherently vengeful, but that she was being used, to Dean's end. And then, like you said, they get that moment.
And she wasn't, she didn't even want to do it. She's like, it's not, I don't have a choice, I'm being made. And he's trying to defend her. And she's like, oh, I know all the tricks. I know how to do this. This is not going to work.
And it also I'm still of the mindset that she did crush on him. And she's still like, even to that end, she's still trying to like brush aside she doesn't want to come out with her feelings to him, even in ghost state. And
in death. Yeah.
I find it very endearing of her as a character. I think she really wanted to feel like she was his equal. And I think maybe he always kind of saw her as somebody he needed to protect or couldn't be in the life, similar to Ellen's view of Jo. And I know a lot of people don't think, but I would have liked to have seen them try a relationship, but we didn't get that. So yeah, there was a lot of interesting things, but little nuances.
Yeah, we so very rarely get closure with that kind of stuff that I think it deserves merit for the fact that, even though it's so many years later, like seasons later, they still were like, no, we can still make this okay. I like it.
Good.
Yeah. What about you?
My bottom, Out with the Old, episode 16, Cursed Objects again. It's when they have to go to this like it's like a small town, and like all of the little like antiques or whatever from this one store have been cursed. I don't even remember the overall like thing about it, but I just know that the gags just really weren't funny. If I can pluck an episode out and be perfectly fine with never watching it again, go straight to the bottom for me. This is one of those episodes. It makes me sad and disappointed about the Leviathan plot line, because I still think they could have done a lot more with that. And season 7 struggles with the season 6. Too many things are happening.
Yes.
Plots where I really think if they could have just focused on the Leviathans, it would have worked. And I don't even know if it wasn't that they just didn't focus enough, but with Bobby dying and then having to get rid of all the different things, Cass dying in the beginning, then Cass coming back, then you're still dealing with Sam and seeing Lucifer. It's like two, maybe. Like I understand plotting and having like layering something, but so much was going on, and I just feel like they could not focus. And if they had a season where maybe just 2 plot lines were going on, then that probably would have worked. But again, too many things were shoehorned in, and then they would still find time to throw in a stupid monster of the week that just filled up space where you could have had the plot.
No reason.
The plot, could have taken over for that. And I'm also very upset by this episode because there's a lot of Frank Devereaux in this episode, which I really like that side character. He was one of my favorites. This is the episode where at the very end, he's killed off screen. So because it's off screen, I always thought, well, maybe there's a chance he might come back. It's supernatural. They never brought this character back. And it's also like a pull the rug out from under you where they just lost Bobby 5 or 6 episodes before. So you're kind of wondering, like, who's going to be this person that they can have. And, I was thinking, well, okay, maybe they'll have Frank. And then they did the same thing to him. So there's just too much is going on. I did not like that with this. So Out with the Old, get it out. Just no. My top is, I know, I'm so sorry.
No, it made my top 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And it did for me. It did for me as well, but it's Death's Door. It's episode, hold on. I just scrolled.
10.
It's episode 10. It's the one where Bobby dies. I literally just watched this a couple weeks ago with Ted. His death is one that hits the hardest for me on the show. And again, it's because he was so much for the boys. And my heart gets ripped out again and again every time I see it. But there's so much about Bobby that we get as he tries to find, his escape from the bullet to the head, the coma, as he's evading the Reaper in his subconscious. It's heartbreaking to see all the trauma he went through as a child. And then even seeing his relationship with his wife, finding out all of the unworthiness, you get a sense that he didn't feel like he was very worthy of anything anyway. But then to give you a little bit of the meat to the bones was very satisfying to me in that way, that was, these are the building blocks that made him the way that he is. And yeah, he was taken too soon. But when you think about a lot of deaths in Supernatural, I feel like they handled his exit much better than other characters and how they were taken out of the show. Plus they gave us more Rufus again. He was in the dream. And Jim Beaver, I have such a soft spot for him. He's such a good actor. And to me, like, he's one of those supporting characters you can always rely on. Like, anything I see him in, he's a little bit different, but he's still that character that, that the backbone of that character is in there. And I really do appreciate him as an actor. And there's the one line towards the very end, right before, well, as fate would have it, I adopted 2 boys and they grew up great. They grew up heroes. That just makes me just a quivering pile of just like jello when he says that, because I know it's a concrete expression of how much they meant to him. And that's just really special. This is really special. So that's my top. And looking at my top list, that was the season 7. That was the top of the top of the topists in terms of like highest up for that season. So I think that hasn't changed much in terms of that season for me.
When you think of all the deaths that happen in Supernatural, and that's one of, if not the only one where they get to say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, although it's awful and like we're seeing the boys completely lose the plot in the hospital, and they get that last moment with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's
it's
just that
it is. And it's also sad that like they did this with Bobby and they did it with Charlie. They brought back an AU version, and as much as I love Jim Beaver, all I'm thinking of is that's not our Bobby.
That's not right.
And when he comes back and sort of like, I think he came back like when they had to save him in hell. I think that was season 10. And I think they brought him back in sort of like a flashback episode with Rufus, as it's also really great. Like, I think it might have been season 11. We don't see him again until the finale, like our Bobby. We don't see again. And that to me meant a lot more, seeing our Bobby and dealing with our Bobby. It just that hits different. And ranking rehab, here we come. We're gonna have to rank our characters, in terms of like favorite one day on the show. Like do that. I think that would be interesting to do.
But one terrifying moment, then I thought you were going to say, we're going to have to rank the deaths on Supernatural, and I was going to have to be like, no, the fuck we're not.
No,
we're not.
No, not that. No.
Rank characters, Well, Bobby made, when we did comfort characters, Bobby was your comfort character, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So we hold a lot
the
of
dad
love.
I would want, even
I don't know. I think I'd like a dad that yelled at me less.
No,
it's all right with you.
But I would love that though, because I do feel like there's care behind the like, he's there. Like, that's the thing. Like, the loyalty aspect for me is so very important with that character. He's so loyal. He's loyal to a fault. We were just talking about him and Rufus. Like, they could be so mad at each other, but at the end of the day, if Rufus shows up at his door, he's going to help him out, and then they'll figure out their stuff. And that to me is important. And yeah, he's just so, I would love that grump. I would just grumpy grump him out. That's why I'm writing him in, wash, rinse, repeat as sort of like, a surrogate dad for the reader character, because the original female character, she needs that. And he's that for everybody. He's even that for Garth.
He's just everybody's dad. And he's, I love, it's maybe not talked about so much as that I adopted two boys, but he's adopted more than just Sam and Dean. He's like a father figure to the community. Like even John deferred to Bobby's knowledge, and they were of a similar age, He grew up being told how useless he was, and he made himself indispensable.
Yeah.
Which is, and that's something that his Reaper says, isn't it? Not many people would make a life out of like yours out of what you were given, which is, we just fucking miss Bobby. Oh my God, I'm sad now. I'm sad about Bobby.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I deliberately didn't put that one in because I was like, no, I have too many feelings about it. But moving on, season 8, to the surprise of probably like nobody, my bottom episode of season 8 is Bitten, and it came in like middle of the pack when we ranked them as a group for me. It's found footage, which I hate because it makes me feel nauseous. So that's not necessarily like that's not the fault of the episode, but it's definitely like a few points in the fuck no category for me. I don't like found footage. Like shaky cam makes me feel nauseous. And the plot line was just kind of Like I could see what they were going for. They were kind of like Sam and Dean come in at the end and they have these tapes and they just have to try and figure out what's happened. But it was just like, it was kind of a weird like love triangle, not really like this is my girl and this is my best friend and we're all buddies. And I'm like, that very rarely works out in real life. Yeah. That's not, like not saying it doesn't, not saying that men and women can't be friends with each other completely platonically, but like that very rarely works out in real life. And it was just, it just had all the tedium of teenagers, which is, I'm old now. So I'm like, oh God, teenagers, no, just yuck. So I don't like that episode. Sorry, guys. And then also, like, of all the episodes they got a call back later, that one made one? Like, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So, yeah. I have a lot of strong feelings about found footage and teenage werewolves. They made like a whole, there's a whole different show about teenage werewolves. We don't need it in our show. So that was my...
Do you think that was a thing too? Was that really popular at the time with Teen Wolf? Like, was that happening
maybe
around that time?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I just know it exists.
Maybe it was like a Vampire's Diary or Originals thing too. Because I mean, I know that like, yeah, it could have just been a thing that they were trying out.
Could have just, fuck knows. Fuck knows. Who knows? But I don't like it. Get out. Get out of my season 8. It's the best hair season. And then it's ruined by that shitty episode. No. And my top, actually, and this surprised me because this did not make the list even. I don't think anything from season 8 made the list. Oops, #awkward. When I'm like, oh my God, season 8 is my favorite season. And then nothing from season 8 made my top list. But it's Pac-Man Fever. Now, if I had been making this list at any other time of the year, that may not have been the case. If I had been making this list in any other year than 2024, that also might not have been the case. But as it stands at the moment, this year will be 10 years since my own mother passed. So I am definitely feeling some kind of way at the moment. So the whole concept of Charlie blaming herself for her mom and not being able to let go and let her go. It just got me. If I'd have been making this list at any other time of this year after March, maybe it would have been different. But we're making it now. This is where we are. So I have a lot of feels around the issues that Charlie's having and the way Dean like supports her, and he's not mean about it. He's not like, he's not aggressive. He's not mean. He's just like, it's not your fault, and you have to let her go, and it's just soft.
Yeah.
And I need that right now.
Yeah.
So where the fuck's my Dean, you know?
Yeah.
Where's
Well,
my
is
Dean
that
to
the
come and
first
rescue me?
time we see like the Charlie hug? I think where he really kind of like just at the end just kind of like grabs her and like gives her the kiss on the head and stuff like that.
Is that the one where she goes, "I love you," and he goes, "I know."
He says, "I know."
Yeah. So it's just, but no, that the whole concept of being trapped in a space because you cannot bring yourself to let go is very, that rings a chord with me, for obvious reasons. And it very, very much reminds me of a conversation that I had with my mum before she died. So, like, skip ahead if you don't want Carly's trauma dump. That's fine. You don't have to stick around and listen. Just before my mum was diagnosed with cancer, me and my husband, who was not my husband at the time, he was just my boyfriend, but we had just suffered a miscarriage. We had lost a pregnancy. And I was sitting with my mum while she was receiving chemotherapy. And I don't know how this happens in any other hospital, but in the UK, it's just like a big room with like chairs around it, and like there'll be multiple people receiving various treatments in this room.
It's like an infusion center, right? Where like everybody's getting different medicines, like IV situation.
Yeah. So there's like big squishy armchair for the patient and horrible hospital chair for anyone that's accompanying them, because fuck your back, The NHS, the NHS is not for profit, but the chairs that they put out kind of makes me think that maybe they're getting some backhanders from spinal surgeons, because fuck them chairs, man. So I was not meant to be accompanying my mum to this appointment. Someone else was meant to be accompanying her, and that person, something had come up and that person couldn't go. So my mum's appointments were like 3 hours long. It was like a slow infusion. So I was like, okay, I'm coming to the hospital, I'll be there. I'm sat in this room and I can see it clear as day in my head. And I was not okay. And she's saying to me, you need to go get therapy. You need to reach out to somebody. You need to speak to somebody. And I was like, I'm fine. And she said to me, you think if you let go of the pain, you will forget, but you won't. You don't need to hold on to it. But it's that you think if you let go of the pain, you'll forget. That has stuck with me. And I couldn't honestly say 10 years down the line, I've let go of the pain of losing her. Not because I think I'll forget, just because I don't know how at this point. It's been so long. But that kind of really resonates with this episode. Charlie thinks if she lets go of the guilt and the pain, that she's going to forget everything. And it's not true. My mum was right. Dean is right in this episode. But when you're in it, it's real difficult to sort of see that. So
right. And I think it's much easier for Dean to say that than to actually do that himself too, and that for a lot of people, it takes time to come to that realization.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about Dean. I'll smash my car up before I'll say I'm sad about my dad dying. He's not exactly the person that should be preaching to anybody about how to handle grief. But just that is how it caught me. Again, you could probably ask me the same question next year and I would have a different top. But for right now, it's that one. Where's my fucking Dean?
Yeah. I wish I could pop on over and give you a hug.
Oh, thank you. Stupid Atlantic. Stop being there. It's
Stop
too far.
being there. Just let the land masses just
well, even if you return to your homeland, we would at least be on the same continent.
Yeah. we would. Oh goodness.
Okay. Sad time's over. Sandra, your tops and bottoms.
Well, see, we agreed season 8, bottom bitten. Episode 4, I don't care about the characters. I actually like the director of this episode. He's directed a lot of other episodes much differently, not with shaky cam. So I know they were trying something different regarding style and direction. Just know I'm going to watch this when it comes up in our rewatch, because I think last time when I rewatched, I skipped it. There were certain episodes I'm like, I just don't care. I'm going to skip it. But I'm going to watch it just for the small Sam and Dean moments and, kind of focus on that. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. It's kind of scary to think, I hope they weren't trying to go for similar to what they were doing in Bloodlines, where they were thinking of, well, maybe this might be a show, like situation, like maybe this would be a spinoff. I don't think they did, but
I hope not.
Yeah, and there was something interesting about the characters. I don't know. It's just not a good episode. And I think it was in my top 10. It was, yeah. I mean, it was up there in terms of like it sucked, and it was like the season 8 top one. Yeah, and
then it was number 2. It was number 2.
Yeah. My top is also a Charlie episode, but it's LARP and the Real Girl. Woo! And it's episode 11. So it's like, it was nice to see that they were bringing this character back after the first introduction to her in season 7. So when she came back, I was like, yay. But Dean LARPs, Sam LARPs at the end for his brother. What's not to love about this episode? It's like perfect. It's a little comic relief episode. There's not high stakes. The boys just get time to breathe between heavy, I think a couple of heavy episodes. I'm looking at where it falls in. So yeah, Torn and Frayed was right before. And I think that's when Sam made the decision, not to go back with Amelia, all that stuff. And then the next one is As Time Goes By, when Henry Winchester pops in. So, it's sort of like, okay, let's just
kind of like the fun. Bridge. Yeah, it's kind of like the bridge between the end of the Amelia thing and then the whole Abaddon.
It's just so funny. And Dean is so very cute as a handmaiden. It's just I love it when he dresses up. I really do. Like, there's just something about the way that man just like embodies an outfit and a uniform or whatever. So I'm glad you picked Pac-Man Fever too, because he's wearing a nice military garb in there too.
Now can I say that for Pac-Man Fever, it is Charlie that grabs my attention, not so much Dean, because I love her so much, but like this is one of the we like Dean and Donna in the, oh my god, whatever the fuck the episode was, where they're eating donuts and they're like in sync.
Oh, and that's like, that's the first time we see her. That's, I think, the Purge.
Purge, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I love seeing Dean in sync with people that aren't Sam. Mm-hmm. So it's a scene in LARP and the Real Girl where Sam's like, oh, they were killed by Belladonna, the porn star, the poison. I love him like getting in sync with other people.
Yeah.
And I hold a lot of love in my heart for Charlie as being one of the very few queer characters that was allowed not only to exist for more than a minute, but like we saw her with female love interests, which is
yeah, and Dean's really impressed with her game, I think, in this episode as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. But it makes her death all the more infuriating later down the line because she wasn't like a rival for the boys' affection or anything. And she was like, I don't like there being a token gay person or a token queer person. And she kind of was, but it wasn't really played like that. She was a lot more than her sexuality. She was just a really cool,
character.
Good character. And then she died for literally no reason, but we'll get to that. Get to that. But
and I think it says a lot too about the writer. They take over, I think, episodes where their characters are sort of introduced and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure, Robbie Thompson wrote this episode, and I think he was the one that sort of like brought Charlie in, I think, back in season 7 as well. And I just, it's a really, she's just such a great addition to it. And like you said, she brings out certain things in Dean and Sam, I think in different ways. And Pac-Man Fever for all the reasons you suggested too, but like, she gets to do the montage in that, and they Dean and her have a talk, that's not necessarily as Charlie focused in the beginning, but then, does become Charlie focused. And it's the development of their relationship over successive episodes that I really love too. So
100%. And again, at any other time of the year, LARP and the Real Girl probably would have been my pick So I think that's so great that we were like, yes, Charlie, yes, this one. We love Charlie. 100%. And again, episodes that are defined by their bloopers. Jensen falling over in the charge. Do you know what? That's one of the bloopers that I really don't like because it gives me such cringe. Because I'm like, oh no,
because does he fall a few times? Like they keep showing it. Like, or is it
I think it's the same fall. I just think he keeps
I thought maybe
it.
there were a couple different times where he just like fell, and then I feel like okay, I'm gonna watch that again and see because I'm curious now. Okay,
and also something that just before we move on, Sam's ponytail deserves some love because it is the cutest fucking little tuffy ponytail. It's adorable. He's wearing face paint. It's cute. He's ribbing on Dean for only knowing the speech from Braveheart. It's amazing. I mean, to be fair, I would not be any better because the only speech I could make in that moment would be either from the Battle of Pelennor Fields or the Battle at the Black Gate. Either King Theoden or Aragorn. I could make one of those speeches because I know those. I couldn't make the Braveheart speech. But is he making the speech from Braveheart? It's the only one he knows. It's cute, man. It's cute. We are here for cute episodes. Hey, I'm sorry, guys. There's now a cat fight going on, and for once, it wasn't Jinx.
Okay.
There's plenty of space on the blanket it's Jinx and Xena. Okay, now it's Jinx because now he's pulled himself up, so he's so much bigger than her because she's quite a little cat. But there's plenty of space on the blanket, but they want to sit like on top of each other. So he like got up and curled up like kind of like in her belly space because she was kind of laid on her side. And then she just munched his ear, just nom. So, hey, sit down, leave her alone. Stop being mean. Okay, yeah, no, distractions abound by the cats. Okay, well now it's you. Because now he does this thing. And if you didn't know them, you would think it's real cute, but he'll go up to her, Xena specifically, and he licks her, like he grooms her head. And it looks like it's real cute. Like, oh, he loves her. He's cleaning her. They're bonding. He's not. He knows that she doesn't like it. And he does it because after enough time, she'll get pissed off and leave. And then he can have the warm spot where she is. It looks like now there's like a cat standoff. But it looks like he's been like, I'm good brother. I groomed my sister. It's real cute. He's fucking not. It's just because he knows it'll get her to move. Like, she might bat him in the face a couple of times, but he's okay with that.
Yeah.
He just wants her to move so he can have the warm spot that she's in.
End result. That's all he's worried about. Yeah.
You suck. Just leave her alone. Okay, right. Now there's been another cat interlude. Now he's trying to sleep, like curl up next to her again in the same place that got him bitten last time. So I don't know what's going to happen now. I need a Jinxie cam for these episodes. I need a Jinxie cam. Let us know if you want us to live stream, take a video of the cats and put it on YouTube.
We could do it on Discord occasionally.
Yeah, we could. So, moving on, season 9. My bottom of season 9, and I would imagine it is to the surprise of literally nobody, is Do You Believe in Miracles, which is the finale of season 9. And isn't it weird that Bobby's death, we were like, no, it's the top, it's the best, it's got all the feels. And then I'm like, I hate this. It's because it's so sad.
Yeah.
He's so broken.
Yeah.
He's so broken. And then there's it's got a really emotional moment with Sam at the end. Like about believing in us. That might not be the right speech, but
no, that's not the right speech because that's in Sacrifice, I think. No, this one is the one where it's like all of season 9 after Sam found out about what Dean did with Ezekiel/Gadriel, and he was like, I never would have done that to you. We can't be brothers anymore. We're just going to work together. I'd give you up in a second. And then it's like,
whoa. Can we have less pouty teen in your Sam voice, please? Like, that is reasonable issues that he's bringing up here. He's not being a pouty teen like, you used all the hot water. I don't want to be a friend anymore.
No, but then he's like, yeah, I lied. And, it's like, no, I lied to you about that. I wouldn't, it just makes me mad. Because then Dean's like, wait, ain't that some shit or whatever. Like, ain't that, whatever he said. It was like, man, Sam, a little too late.
Yeah, just like, really? At the 11th hour now? Fucking really? Now is not the time, friend. But no, it's just,
It is so sad because he's so broken and he just like falls. I think he just like slumps into Sam too, which is kind of indicative, a little bit, a callback to the end of season 2 where they're on their knees and like, it's just, when they flip stuff like that, I think it hits really hard. Yeah.
So no, I don't. Here's an interesting thing about death scenes and things like that. It was in an episode we discussed recently, and we were talking about the end of season 2, because we argued about my pain in the ass little brother, and I was like, nope, it was part 1, and you were like, no, I'm sure it's in part 2, and we went and listened, and you were like, it was not in part 2, and I was like, you're fucking goddamn right, it was. So I have heard, I wonder if you have more knowledge on this. I have heard conflicting things. So I have heard that, and I believe this because this came from Jared and Jensen, that Jensen obviously really struggled with that scene, and they didn't call like action and expect him to go. They were like, okay, camera's rolling whenever you're ready, so he could like build up the emotion of that scene in part 2 where he's talking to Sam's corpse. But then I also heard, or I saw like on Instagram, I think it was saying that Jensen tried to take as long as possible doing his lines to see if he could get Jared to pass out holding his breath, like being Sam's body, and they don't marry up for me. I don't think one of those is true, and it's obviously the holding the breath thing, because I know they goof around on set, but that doesn't. I don't think it's true.
So I think that there are moments when they know they've got to get their shit together. You know what I mean? And I almost feel like those kinds of moments wouldn't be. I mean, I've heard situations where like I think Jared had like kept messing with Bobby's foot or something, like when he was in bed or something. It might have been a little dream, or maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was death's door, who knows, like just to get a reaction out of him. And I know they've done stuff like with DJ in bed and stuff like that. I just feel like for them, if it's just, and again, I could be totally wrong. I feel like when it's just them in a scene, they know when they can fool around and when it's time to get business done. So who knows? I mean, maybe they had done a couple of takes and gotten it, and maybe they were going to do another one. And Jensen's like, well, no, I'm gonna fuck with them.
Yeah, maybe
that.
But it didn't marry up to the knowing the weight of the scene on Jensen, him then goofing around and trying to like make Jared pass out.
Now, was this something that you just like you heard had been mentioned, or was it something that came from?
It was just it was just a picture. It was just like another one of those. I just don't think it was a 4-panel one, but like one of those, where it's like the stills of the thing and then the text over the top of it.
I'm wondering too. Well, I know there was commentary on the first part of All Hell Breaks Loose. I don't think there was commentary on the second part 2 of that. It'd be interesting to see where that came from, like where if it has any merit to it, or if it's just something somebody said. I also know too, though, sometimes I don't think you can really, how I've said sometimes I just make shit up in my head, like my memory, as you get older, you start to think something happened a certain way and it didn't. And then you get reminded of that by somebody else. I don't know how much after a certain point we can even trust what comes out of Jared and Jensen's mouth, because they've been doing it for so long and they literally don't even remember season to season. Like they get stuff mixed up too. So I think sometimes their storytelling bleeds in, just like I was like, oh no, I'm sure he said it again. Like, no, he didn't, sweetie. He did not say it again in that you thought he did, but he didn't. And that's where I just sometimes I wonder like people's memories of things. I think after a while, like unless it was like right after the fact and you get like this is what happened, or you have it on camera. I don't know how much you can believe after a while. But no, it you're right. It doesn't go together with the care and stuff that he would then just be.
Then if you think in, so All Hell Breaks Loose part 2, the end of season 2, and then at the end of season 3, Jensen was like, even though he wasn't on camera, he was doing the dead body for Jared to act to. And there's like, quotes from Jared saying like he was fully like eyes closed, holding his breath, being a corpse for me to act to. And I was saying, like Jared saying to Jensen, like, you don't got to do that. You can open your eyes, you can breathe. So someone who puts that much weight on being a good co-star to give somebody to act to doesn't then marry up with the same story of like, oh, I'm going to draw my lines out to see if I can get him to pass out from holding his breath, which, by the way, I don't think is biologically possible, because at a certain point, your brain will kick in and like your brain stem will kick in and force you to take a breath. I don't think you can willingly asphyxiate yourself like that without anything else.
Yeah, I'm curious too. Like, and I might go back and watch that scene just to see how long they held on Jensen. You know what I mean? Like before they like cut back and forth. Because I mean, you can have him try to do one scene all the way through, but they might have even said, just take your time and go through this and go through that and all of that. But I mean, I would assume the assumption is Jared's there. He could breathe, like minutely as he was,
If you think about the camera angles, like his chest and like the side of his face was in the camera angle. We were looking up at Dean. So he probably did have to hold his breath and only breathe between takes.
Right. But I'm thinking too, like holding his breath, like, but then like, if there was like a gap or whatever, like he could have been mentally like, okay, I'm going to do a quick breath or something like that. Like just that kind of thing. Like, I just feel like they would have said, okay, we're going to run through this, maybe even say, Jared, if you need a moment, this would be a good time to take a breath.
By all means, dude, big breath now, friend. Big breath now, friend.
Who knows? Who knows what? Yeah, we'll never know unless we actually saw the footage. And they don't save all the footage, which is a damn shame. They should have.
Yeah. I just don't, those two things don't marry up for me. But yeah, that's just a little aside on death scenes and maybe, the rumor mill of the internet. But no, it's fucking Metatron that beats him broken. And I don't like that because he's tiny. That's some bullshit right there. And I know he's an angel and I know that's the point, but still, no. Not a fan.
I just think it shows how manipulative and, Metatron in and of himself, how he uses the intellect part and the parts that he knows are going to get to Dean more than necessarily. I mean, definitely there was a little bit of a battle there, but I think a lot of it was just him knowing when to go in and, give him a little stabby stab when he wasn't paying attention, just that split second. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's definitely something, invokes a lot of the same feelings from Swan Song. There is definitely something very emotive about Dean beaten, bloody, and broken, Yeah. And whatever the fuck that scene is where he's on his knees in front of Cass and Cass is beating him. Because I can't remember what fucking scene it is. I can only remember the bloopers of "You're my baby daddy. I need you."
I think that's
I love you too. I didn't say I loved you.
I think that's
I fucking remember what it is.
I think that's Goodbye Stranger. It might be season 8 because I think it's when all the tablets become the thing and he's being used by angels.
Oh, Naomi. Yeah,
I think it's season 8. I'm just checking.
Yeah, that probably tracks. But no, there's just something about Dean beaten, bloody that I'm just like no, and like full of fiery rage. So. Yeah. But no, fuck that season. Fuck season 9 and the death scene. So that's my bottom for season 9. And then my top for season 9 is, I'm sure to the surprise of literally nobody, I'm a shallow human being. It's The Purge, y'all. He's in a fucking tank top doing yoga. Come on now, what do you want from me? I am not a strong person, okay? He's got great hair. He's in a fucking tank top. He's doing yoga. He's got his muscles on display. It's fucking great. Dean eats roofie pudding. It's really funny. Like, and that's, that is the episode with Donna and the donut. Again, episodes that are defined by their bloopers of Donna trying real hard to carry on while Jensen has just powdered sugar all over his face. We need to do bloopers that define an episode. We need to do that episode.
We've got it. We've got it on the list. We'll get to it. We'll get to it at some point.
Yeah, but I'm just I'm a simple mortal. I see biceps, I click like. I don't know what you want from me.
Okay.
Yeah. So, to be fair, it's like storyline wise, it's quite a good episode in terms of, monsters that aren't, well, the woman isn't inherently evil. Her brother is somebody like that's different, but she's just like, no, I help people and I feed and I'm not bad. I'm here for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm mostly here for the biceps.
I totally get that. I totally get that. I was going to ask you, season 7, was your top bottom season 7 Time for a Wedding? Is that why it wasn't included? Okay. Yeah. Just because we're getting into for season 9, I couldn't include my ultimate bottom from the previous episode that we did, which was Bloodlines for season 9. So my bottom for season 9 was the hashtag Thin Man, which is episode 15.
Ugh, fucking Ghostfacers. Fuck those bitches.
Okay. I am normally team Ghostfacers when they make an appearance, not this time. And actually, the monster of the week to me was creepy, especially when you found out that it was just 2 guys that were behind it, which I think kind of gives it a little more of like, that Bender's vibe of like, it's the humans that are the real monsters situation. So it was creepy and I didn't like that, but it was more just the parallel between the Ghostfacers and Sam and Dean's current relationship. I call them relationship woes where, I can't trust you. You made a decision for me that benefited you. That didn't take my wants and needs into consideration, that I just didn't like. So it's a forgettable episode for that reason. But Dean does look really nice in his fed suit. And I think there's a right button up. But unfortunately, even that would be like, I can't say I would throw this in the bin and never look at it again, because I might look at it just for
that white button
for those scenes. And I think there's a funny blooper between all of them when they're in the booth together. I feel like as actors, they play off of each other really well when they're in scenes together. Like they get the comedy stuff together really well. And one of the guys was actually in like a sitcom with Jensen, like way back when they were like early teens. I think it was before
babies.
I think it was before Days of Our Lives. And so I think they were co-stars, at least for like a good, like maybe 10 or 12 episodes or something like that. And it's not the guy with the glasses, it's the other dude. I always forget their names, but I don't know. I like the Ghostfacers.
I do not.
Yes, we know this. So I was also laughing at your pick for tops being The Purge for all of those very important reasons, because I did the same thing for Dean. and I don't usually do that, and this episode is written by the 2 writers that I really don't like at all, which is Buck Lemming. But my top is Blade Runners. It's episode 16, season 9.
You're going to have to refresh my memory.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's the one where they go down and they find the Men of Letters dude that's in like the invisible fortress. And it's when he finally gets the blade in his hand and he's going to be kept by the guy.
Yeah. So can I say that my overriding memory of that is a Sam moment?
Of course.
Sorry.
I would not be surprised by that, but I will tell you now.
No, my overriding moment is the moment when Dean gets the blade and he has that orgasm look on his face. That's the first one. But my second one is Sam sorting through files and he's sitting in the Impala and he's holding a knife.
Yeah.
He goes, "You're even more useless than usual."
Yeah. He's really bitchy with Crowley. And I think that makes it like really like over the top too. It's not like the best episode by any means, but my God, I will tell you, what season 9 in general, just Dean does things to me physically that I have no control over. And physically,
it's the Dean show. Yeah.
When he's in that suit, there's a suit scene and the stubble. And then he's got the blade in his hand. They're so
good.
It's just like, that's it. And I would say, I don't know why. He just does so many things to me in this episode. This is it makes no sense.
Sandra is going to get a spray bottle and a fan. She'll be right back.
I'm drinking
Is
some
that-
water.
Is that the episode where they I think it's demons, they like carve something into the side of the Impala?
Yeah. And
Because
also,
again,
Dean's
it's
so
not-
he's so upset, but I think don't you see like get a good ass view in there too? Like I think he like goes into the back seat or I don't. There's something weird that happens that I think
there's
in
an
that
ass.
scene- There's a
That was not what I was gonna reference. That's what Sandra's referencing. There was an ass. No, it's not bloopers that define an episode, but apparently Jensen was real pissed because they actually carved that shit into the side of one of the Impalas, and he was like, "Oh, come on now!"
Yeah,
like
that was
seriously.
Jensen. Yeah, that was Jensen's reaction. I think I'm going to rewatch. When I rewatch it, I want to listen to the commentary because I think Mark Shepard does the commentary on that one, and I think he's the one that brings that up. So I want to listen to that commentary and just hear that from his mouth. Yeah.
I know Jensen was like, fuck it. Like they couldn't have put stickers on. They actually carved it into the car and he was big mad. But no, it's when he like starts like licks his thumb and starts rubbing the like Dean, rubbing the paintwork. Like that's gonna help.
He's so upset. But no, that's not why I would pick that. This is just, he's just so, there's so many good things going on. I just find it funny that we pick season 9 to be like, yeah, no. It's just this.
Season, like, look, we were real good 6 through 8, and now we're like, no, it's about the fan service. That's what we're here for now. It's about the porn, guys.
I can't wait for this episode when it comes up in my rewatch. I'm very looking forward to this.
Yeah. Okay, so we've made it to season 10, which is the last of this grouping. So my bottom for season 10, and again, I doubt very much that this is a surprise to anybody because it was my number 2 when we grouped them all together, but I couldn't have my number 1, which was Time for a Wedding in season 7, because fuck that episode, fuck Becky, fuck date rape, I've been through this. So in lieu of that, it's Dark Dynasty. Because it's so like when I was going through and I was thinking about this, and the whole thing about was it the Thule, which is a weird name, and the book of the damned.
No,
and like, it was just like such a
wait a minute. Was that the Steins? The Stein?
No,
family?
that was the one with the golem.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure it's
the Thule. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever their name was is irrelevant. They get the Book of the Damned to what? Oh, it's for the Mark of Cain, isn't it? They're gonna Charlie's decoding the Book of the Damned with the other book, but then there's this it's like hitherto unheard of organization that are suddenly like stalking them for this book, and it comes out of nowhere and it's weird, and then like it ends with dead Charlie, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And like they leave her in a bathtub, and that's fucking gross. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
And again, Charlie's death is so nonsensical because she like we've established, any kind of threat to the boys' relationship gets yeeted out of the show real fucking quick. That's why no one ever has a girlfriend for more than a minute. But she wasn't a rival for affections, and she was cool, and she was badass, and she was representing women, and blah 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 blah. And then her death was pointless, and I will die mad about it.
Yeah.
And just like Bobby, whose death like wasn't pointless, had meaning. But then they bring her back, but then it's not right, and I really, really, really hated the whole apocalypse world, like Charlie and Bobby, and really didn't like it. But we'll get to that in the next set of rankings. That's a discussion for another day. And my number 10, and if you can't guess this one, have you even been listening for the last 2 years? In fact, Sandra's notes say, I'm expecting Kasey to pick, otherwise that would be my top. So, it's the episode that inspired the albatross around my fucking neck now. It's Soul Survivor, episode 3 of season 10, when they capture Dean and they're going to demonify him. And then they do that, but then he gets to be like half demon, half human, so he can get out of the devil's trap, and he stalks Sam around the bunker with a hammer. And poor Sam's only got one hand because he's fucked his shoulder up wrestling with somebody. Was that when he was wrestling with Osric?
Yeah,
maybe
it was.
it's a Jared injury, not a Sam injury.
Yeah.
It's not canonical. Jared fucked his shoulder up.
Because normally something
just,
like that would only be a 1 episode thing, and then they'd be fine the next episode.
Yeah, like when he broke his wrist in season 2. I can't remember how he did that. But I think that was dicking around with something as well.
And that was ongoing too, where like otherwise, they could have major gashes in their face and you wouldn't see anything the next episode to be like, okay, no scars? Great.
Yeah, cool. Look, they're fucking magic. But no, that was a Jared injury. He did his shoulder in. And I'm pretty sure his shoulder was wrestling with Osric.
Mm-hmm.
But no, and again, bloopers that defined an episode. Why did you have a hammer? Because I was going to nail you. Yes. And again, it couldn't be anything other this episode, although this episode wasn't what inspired Blood Junkie, which was the first one. That was My Bloody Valentine in season 5. Soul Survivor was kind of like the first in the Junkie series. Control Junkie is pretty much like a redo of Soul Survivor. It's like a canon divergence because that's the first one. I kind of have to be like, well, this kind of this is how it all started. This is where it all became, and this is why it's turned into an enormous thing that I have 4 months to finish. Kind of going to be a problem, but yeah, no, it couldn't be anything other than Soul Survivor. It's a fucking great episode. It's another Jensen directed episode, so although we'd love it, even if it wasn't, we're still like, oh my god, baby, it's a Jensen baby, it's our baby.
Yeah.
I wish that anybody fucking hell had asked Jensen at the time, hey, why was that the acting choice that you made for that scene? But we can't ask now because he probably won't remember.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
But it's such a great episode. So good. And I love Demon Dean so much. Such a great episode.
Yeah.
So it had to be. It couldn't be anything else.
No, he did some
one.
really great scenery chewing too in that episode. And I think it just shows, I think the writers are again like not the greatest writers in that episode. I think it's Buck Lemming too. So I think in that instance, I think, Jensen being a part of it and the character, I think we're able to sort of like elevate it a little bit more than it would have been, even though I do think there are some Jensen episodes that he directed that I'm truly not a big fan of, because I think that he could only do so much with what he was given with like the storyline. And I think one's like a pretty heavy Monster of the Week one, and then in season 8, and then there's like one where it's the Amy episode in season 7 where he has to kill Amy and Sam. Then he keeps that secret. It's an okay episode, but like he's had a couple where I think sometimes he's able to do more with it. Yeah, I would just like to ask him, like, were you the one that decided to put in like the growling? Like the sound effects, in that one scene, because it's very jarring, like to hear it all of a sudden, and he gets into it, and yeah, it's good choice. Yeah. So for season 10, my top I could not include the overall, which was fan fiction. Kasey will not care.
Oh no, I'm weeping for fan fiction. I'm weeping. Hey, look, it didn't make my bottom, so it can be real happy there.
Yeah. Now the bottom that you'd picked, Dark Dynasty, it was in my overall list of like ultimate top 10 worst ones from season 6 to 10, but it was not the top of the bottomest for season 10. That one goes to Paper Moon, episode 4. Oh look, the return of the werewolf chick from Bitten. I did not care. The only saving grace is, I think, the opening scene of Sam and Dean trying to relax this is right after Soul Survivor. So, they're taking some time off, and then they've got like, it's either game warden or fish and wildlife uniforms. And that one scene, I'm just like, oh, they look so good at that. But that's
I look exactly the same.
Yeah. But then the sibling parallels again, just some of it's just so heavy-handed sometimes, and I'm just like, we get it, they're dysfunctional, they're trying to figure their stuff out. I just was not here for it,
not feeling
at all. And I'm trying to see who Yeah, even like the writers for that one weren't necessarily horrible, but it's just, yeah, it just didn't work. It just didn't work. So for me, the top episode for season 10 is the Executioner's song, and that's episode 14. Again, I did expect Kasey to pick Soul Survivor, so I was like, we'll just give that. We'll just give that over. This is a really good episode in terms of the pacing of it. It's when Kane comes back and you realize he's killing everybody in his bloodline. Like there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's not whether or not they've done something bad or haven't. He's gone mental. He's
off the reservation.
He's off the reservation. And I also like that everybody was sort of like involved in the trap process. Like I love that, they bring Crowley in and he's so sulky and like he's just, he's like, Dean, he's still upset that Dean, sort of like left him. And there's the face off between Kane and Dean in the barn, which is really good. The stunts held up pretty well, but really it's just
that's the one where Jensen stabbed Jared in the knee.
Yeah, I think when he was like coming back down or coming down somewhere, I remember, where he's like boop.
Because they argue
they talk about
that.
It.
They're like, you stabbed me in the knee. I didn't need the knife.
But it's
I don't think you knew. Of course I knew.
But it's just overall, it's a good paced episode, good structure, overall plot, Kane's, prophesizing, what Dean's going to have to do to everybody, Crowley, Cass, and ultimately Sam, what the mark is going to do to him and all that stuff. And so it's really solid episode. I'm glad we got to see Kane. You forget that he was only in 2 episodes and very different, at least like looking like from season 9 to season 10 with the hair and everything.
Grows his hair and his beard.
But it's a good episode. So yeah, if I had to pick that for my top, and actually I don't even think it was in my original top 10.
No, it wasn't.
For like the only other top 10 season 10 one was Reichenbach, which is another Demon Dean episode. And again, there's a lot of scenery showing. Jensen just does a good job as Demon Dean in that. But I was like, well, I know I appreciated this episode when I watched it again. So when I get to it, I know it'll be a favorite one of mine. I'll be anticipating it. I like it when I'm anticipating when I know, ooh, this episode's coming up because I know it's a good episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's ours. That's our ranking rehab. We're not quite ready to go yet. So we're still like, we're finding ways to get our hit. Here and there.
Look, just we don't. Okay, we're not ready. We'll go when we're ready. Leave us alone. Yeah. it's been at least a month since the last ranking episode. Leave us alone. We're not ready to admit we have a problem.
We're not trying to put them successively in we're trying to give you guys a breather too, so you don't have to deal with our ranking incessant stuff over and over again. But yeah, I'll be interested in hearing. Because I think I'm going to ask in our Discord too. Like, we got a couple responses from one of our last episodes about like peak acting. So I'll probably be asking when this comes out, if there were whose tops and bottoms of each season they have, if they fall in line. I think we're on the same page with some of them, but again, I think I just thought it was funny how season 9 we're like, we're not even worried about the quality of the episode.
We're here for the porn, lads. That's what we're here for. It's all about the porn. Yeah, look, okay, we were adults for we're
good. Yeah.
4 out of 5 of them. And those biceps will not be denied.
Yeah.
Don't at me, people.
And I'm sorry, go back and look at Dean in that fed suit and tell me that does not, it's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Inspires some thoughts.
It does. It all does.
Yeah. We're gonna get Sandra into a cold shower, so we're
gonna need it because we have to record. We have to record another episode soon. So yeah, again, let us know our thoughts. No, let us know your thoughts when it comes to season 6 to 10, and what were some tops and bottoms for each of those seasons. So if you want to reach out to us, you can email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify. Use the Q&A section to share your thoughts. All our contact details are on our website, idlingintheimpala.com. Go check it out.
Yes, don't forget to like, comment, share, follow, and subscribe wherever you access your podcast, but especially if you are watching or listening on YouTube. Engagement with episodes really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. All hail its benevolence. And like, if you want like kitty cam on YouTube, let us know. And I'll, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's kind of boring at the moment. They're both snoozing. But if kitty cam is something you would like to see going forward, let us know, because I can totally rig something up to do kitty cam. That is not a problem. In the description, there are, as always, the causes that we are championing. So from myself, I have links to LGBTQ plus talking, charities, places that you can reach out if you need someone to talk to if you are in crisis. They are in there for the US and the UK, and there's some international links in there as well if you are not in either of those locations. From Sandra, we have election information and mental health advocacy help information as well. It is now, at time of recording, and obviously will be when this comes out, 2024, which means yay, election season. Woo, yay, everyone's so fucking happy. It's a jump to the left, guys, not a step to the right. So come on, vote blue. It doesn't really fucking matter who the blue is that you're voting for. Just Jesus Christ, don't put him back in the White House, for fuck's sake, please. Like, we'll all be dead. It'll be a real problem. But Sandra has really helpfully provided links where you can find out about voting rules, regulations, laws, shit like that in your area, how to get registered, what ID you need, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I think the ACLU is in there, and I feel like that's a good resource for a lot of different things involving civil liberties and stuff like that as well.
You know, we know there's going to be some shenanigans. We know there's going to be fuckery. So keep yourself as appraised as possible. Don't forget to vote, and vote early if you can. Please, 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 please jump to the left, not a step to the right. And also, it is my hope that by the time this episode goes out, these links will not be needed. But at time of recording, which is the 6th of January, 2024, they are still very much needed. We are spotlighting, championing, highlighting, whatever words you want to use, 2 charities that are on the ground, both in the Ukraine, which is still being affected by Russia's unlawful invasion and war, and also in Gaza, which is, of course, while Gaza itself is not at war with Israel, it is most definitely under attack, is probably the best way I can put that. This is not political. I'm not asking you to pick a side. I don't really care if you think Israel is in the right or if you think Palestine is in the right. That's not what I'm about here. This is humanitarian. There are people in Gaza and in the Ukraine. They are trapped. They cannot leave. They are starving. They are dying. Okay? This is humanitarian only. We're not here to make a political point. But we are drawing attention to World Central Kitchen, which, as the name implies, is on the ground helping to feed people who are trapped in both of those locations, and Doctors Without Borders, again, as the name implies, on the ground giving medical aid as much as they can. They are there in these dangerous war zones helping people who cannot leave and require that help. So if you can help any of the charities that we have mentioned, keep helping people. That would be fucking amazing. But if you need help from any of the charities that we have highlighted, that is what they are there for. So links in the description.
Yeah, just one more pop in about that is that we practice what we preach. So end of 2023, Idling did make donations to World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. We want to do what we can in some small way and hope that if you can, you'll do the same to support the people that are in need.
And I suppose maybe this needs to be said. If you can't give monetarily, that's completely fine. Mm-hmm. Just share the information around, just put the links on your social media, draw awareness to it, because especially here in the West, coverage about the war in Ukraine is absolutely minimal now, and coverage about what's happening in Gaza is diminishing. Mm-hmm. So these things are still going on, even if they're not in the news. Anything you can do to help. It doesn't have to be a monetary donation. Right. Just share the links around, raise awareness would be fucking amazing. But with all that said, it is the first episode we're recording of the new year. So Happy New Year, everyone. Let's all not say anything stupid about how 2024 is going to be our year or anything like that. We're just going to We're just going to tread softly and hope it won't be as awful as last year was. But with that, we will say thank you for joining us in the back seat, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.